Matt Beach, Ale and Angus, seven-time award, New York State Beef Council best burger in the state, which is crazy. So tell me a little about the restaurant. How long have you guys been open?
So we are currently in our 19th year, and it's crazy to think that that I was a 24-year-old kid. I call myself kid. I had some growing pains. My 24, 25, 26 years old. You still want to live that party life, but still run a business at the same time. And I had to learn real quick, that. And I learned by watching my fellow industry leaders. I mean, there's a lot of them that have come and gone. There's a lot of industry leaders that were around for a long time that you saw fail.
Yeah.
And you kind of pick up on their fails and what they've done. Some may have, certain addictions that took over, and next thing you know, the restaurant or bar suffers. So I didn't want to go that route, so I to be honest with you, I don't drink alcoholic beverages at my establishment.
Yeah.
If friends want to get together or whatever, I usually suggest going somewhere else because I don't have a problem paying for my drinks. So,
yeah, right. Yeah.
I've seen far too many industry leaders just drink their profits away. So,
hell yeah.
So starting out at a young age, like I said, I had to learn that business is business, and we got going very well. We took a loan out back in 2005, 5-year loan, paid it back in 2.5 years, so we've been, the restaurant has been debt free for nearly 16.5 years, which is amazing.
That's crazy.
Life has thrown us so many curveballs that you have to learn how to pivot and adapt.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that, I try to wake up and pride myself every day is what can I do different? How can I be one step ahead? You know? And the burger thing just kind of took off, and that's kind of what I ran with. It works.
Yeah.
We got a good thing going. I think back in 2012 was the first year that New York State Beef Council said, "Hey, we're doing a best burger in New York State.
That's cool.
Do you want to partake?" And, over the course of time, you saw the competition literally change on the way that they did things. The very first year, you had to win your region. So Syracuse had its own region. So they broke New York State up into 10 regions.
Huh.
Like Syracuse, Binghamton, Albany, Rochester, Buffalo, Southern Tier, Northern Tier, Long Island, New York City. They broke them up. So you had to win your region. I remember the first year there was 42 restaurants in Syracuse that competed.
Wow.
So
damn,
we won Syracuse. We were best out of 42, which was great. So now we can make it to the top 10.
Yeah.
Once the top 10 was acquired, the New York State Beef Council had 4 silent shoppers that they sent to each restaurant.
I like that. That's cool.
Great.
Yeah.
So you're able to go to this restaurant or bar or whatever establishment it is. I believe they have to be a family owned and operated. They don't do chain restaurants.
Yeah, right.
They go in. You have no idea who they are. They catch you at your most, vulnerable peaks.
Yeah.
Because let's be real. When the competition is coming, you're cooking for judges. You can put forth your best effort. But when you're in the weeds, and you have no idea it's coming, and you got hourly employees cooking for you, you know what I mean? It's a different story. So it was bittersweet to be able to bring home the title in 2012 with the Silent Shopper, in which
that's wild.
I don't know if you've ever been to Ale and Angus on a crunch night, but it's crazy.
No, not on a crunch night.
So standing room only, line out the door, hour and a half wait, just nuts. They came on a crunch night. Sat at the bar. And you know what? They try not to make it look too obvious either. So there's 4 of them. Huh. So I remember reading the report.
Do you know who it was?
I have no idea. No, we have no idea.
After the fact, did you know? After they came in, did you know?
No clue.
Wow.
No clue. When you're serving that amount of meals, and you're blown through Power Play burgers and everything else, it's really hard to gauge. And plus the report doesn't come out till a month and a half later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they take the whole month to hit each restaurant.
That's wild.
And then a month and a half later, they announce the winner.
Yeah.
They write the report. The judges say what they liked and disliked. And, we scored absolutely amazing, which, I commend my staff, to hammer it down. And I have a system in place, and they follow it.
Yeah.
And they know, and I have them trained to where they look at a plate, the servers, the bartenders, the food runners, the expediters, the cooks. They look at a plate and they ask themselves first, is this what Matt wants to send out?
That's wild.
And if it's not,
they
know to replate it. You know what I mean? 'Cause
how do you do that? Teach me how to do that.
It's what? It's a system that they buy into. It's a system that, I try, there's good human beings out there, and there's good human beings that like what they do, and there's good human beings that, will put forth 110% in what they do for you.
Yeah.
I feel we take care of our, staff very well.
That's good.
They enjoy that. And you know what? I'm right there in the trenches with them. Do you know what I mean? And everything.
Yeah.
I bartend, I serve, I dish, I cook, I'll clean the grease off the floor, or what have you.
Yeah.
So I think they see that and they say, okay, he's one of us. You know what I mean? And and you know what? They like the recognition too. You know what I mean? They like to be able to go to a bar wearing an Allen Angus shirt or sweatshirt and feel good about where they work. So
yeah, for sure.
It's nice.
That's awesome.
So we got the report, and out of the 4, only 2 of them ordered the burger.
Really?
Yeah, so they don't try to make it look too obvious.
Right.
They're not like, we'll take 4 power plays, cook, so they got 2 power plays, cooked differently, a Caesar wrap, and a buffalo chicken salad.
Huh.
You would never guess in a million years that those are silent shoppers.
Right.
So, and then the awesome part about it is Food Network reached out and contacted us because we won Best in New York State and said, hey, do you want to compete for Best in the World?
Wow.
It's held in Vegas. Damn. Back during that time, do you remember Adam Richland?
Richmond, yeah.
Richmond, Man vs. Food?
Yeah.
He's the one that headed it up.
Oh, that's cool.
So we went to Vegas, and this is the crazy part. This is the hard part. Like, so when you use fresh burgers, fresh meat, like, how do you get it to Vegas?
Yeah.
So I tried everything. I tried contacting Cisco saying, hey, listen, I'm staying at Bailey's. Is there? I know there's Cisco trucks in Las Vegas. Is there any possible way that I can get a small shipment delivered to one of the hotels and I just pick it up? And unfortunately, I couldn't make that happen.
Really?
So, yeah.
Damn.
Because, there's 70 other restaurants competing all over the world and probably asking to do the same thing, so
Jesus, yeah. If I were Cisco, I'd have been like, put this hat on and put the Cisco hat on and you can, yeah, sure, whatever. Right. We'll drive it out ourselves.
But it was wild. It was wild. So I competed once in that. I've been asked back every time.
That's cool.
And I haven't gone back because it's just I feel that's not an even playing field. Those competitions.
So I'm really curious about your thoughts on that because I've been fortunate to judge the competition in the last 2 years, and it's challenging to judge it. But as somebody who's competed so many years and won, what do you think is the best way to properly judge a food competition like that?
So I think you need to judge cook temp, number 1.
Okay.
I mean, I've watched enough Food Network, stations and shows and competitions to understand that there's not a judge out there in the world that likes a mid-well to well burger.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel that, cook it medium rare. We all know that it's still going to cook another 5 degrees or so from the time it leaves your kitchen to the judge. So at the very most, you're receiving a medium burger. You know what I mean? Which is okay. You don't hear too many judges gripe about medium, but they do not like undercooked or overcooked. You know what I mean? So it's that fine line of playing. So I think doneness of the burger or meat, steak, whatever you're cooking is super important. Presentation, I think, is huge. Flavor profile is a must. And just overall execution.
Yeah.
I think that you have to see yourself as being a customer of that burger.
Right.
Am I going to be able to eat this? I've seen some wild burgers out there. Sloppy, Yeah, they may be good, but I mean,
Yeah.
how am I going to eat this? I don't necessarily want to eat a fork and knife burger. I want to be able to cut it in half, maybe pick it up and eat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think execution is huge. I think the layer profile is important.
Yeah.
Building a burger. If you can cut your burger in half and it stands straight up, you're good.
Okay. What do you think when you think about like the secret shopper method or what it is today where you're in a special kitchen and there's 4 judges and there's people photographing all that kind of stuff? Which method do you prefer? Which method do you think is like the best way to be judged? Do you think it's a secret shopper or do you think you're going to stand before 4 judges?
I think it's a double-edged sword, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Secret shoppers can be anybody.
Right.
We can take myself, you, and 2 other people and say, go judge this. Well, at the end of the day, I like a mid-rare burger, you like a well-done burger. I mean, you're not going to get a consistent. I feel that if you sign up to judge a burger competition, you have to go in knowing that you're going to get it medium rare to medium, and so. But I also like the fact of the silent shoppers because it gives your restaurant or bar more of a representation. Because I mean, let's be real. If I know that I'm cooking for a panel of judges, I'll cook 8 burgers and pick the 4 best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that you see that in cooking competitions all over the world.
For sure.
I mean, you see these barbecue competitions where they hand in a little 9x9 to-go box, but yet they have 30, 40 pounds of beef just sitting in there picking the best of the best, So
yeah.
I like them both. I personally would prefer the way that it has been lately, cooking. Knowing judges are here. It's almost like getting geared up for a championship game. We're going to battle. We got the top 4. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of, it's supposed to be like being a judge the past 2 years. It's difficult because like you're going into it, and I know, if we've been following on social media, so we know whose burgers, whose, and all that kind of stuff, and so it's a little challenging that way because you're trying to go in and it's like, all right, is this an unbiased review of this burger? And yeah, so it's fun. It's definitely a lot of fun, but I always take it really seriously. Like I give decimal points and all that kind of stuff on my score. So
the Dave Portnoy burgers. Yeah, no, that's great though.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it's a great question for you. Winning those awards on the level that I've seen, like we do best taco every year. And the woman who we gave the award to this year for Meat Local, Birria Queso Tacos, she's a pop-up, out of the Salt City Test Kitchen, random days. She's been the weekend after we posted that they were the best taco, there was like a 3.5 hour wait to get the tacos. It was nuts.
It's amazing. Yeah.
What does it do for business for you when you win?
The competition was started in April 1, I believe.
Yeah.
And I believe by May, I think the date was 8th or 9th, May 9th, we had our winners or whatnot. We are now into August, and I'm still having people come into the restaurant for the number 7.
Wow.
And they're coming from all over the place. Matter of fact, I mean, I was on vacation last week for half the week, but one of my employees said that there was a couple that came in Friday night that said they had the best burger in Texas, they had the best burger in Oklahoma, and they had the best burger in Georgia, and now they're here to try New York State's best burger.
Huh.
And they said that
that's cool.
Hands down, New York State best burger is better than all the others. So it's
awesome.
Nice to see people traveling.
Yeah.
They come from Utica, Rochester, Buffalo. We get a lot of Canadians, Pennsylvania, so it is really cool to be able to talk to people and say, this is our first time. We're here to try the burger. We heard so many things about it. And, I think having Syracuse University so close, there's a wide variety of people from all over the United States and the different countries where they're coming in to visit their kids or drop their kids off to school. and they heard about it, but they have not yet been able to get to Syracuse to try it. Well, this is our opportunity, and we take it and run with it, and
that's awesome.
Show them who's boss.
Yeah, we do the food tours. I started that business up, and it's been wild to see. We just had, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did a tour, and the one couple had just moved here. They got transferred. It was wild. She got transferred. She's in the Army. She's a recruiter, but like one of New York State's main recruiting offices is in downtown, which I didn't know. But so they just got transferred from Atlanta. Had no idea anything about Syracuse or food. And then there was another couple that was vacationing from Tampa. And older couple, they said Tampa was too hot. They went on the map and saw that upstate New York was the coldest place in the United States at that time. And so that's where they went. And so it just and they were up here for a week, just staying and going around different little towns around, Syracuse and going out to eat. So it's really cool to see the tourism that exists in Syracuse just randomly, not for a specific, SU game or concerts or anything like that.
And I think downtown Syracuse does a very nice job with that Visit Syracuse.
Yeah.
That book came out. It's amazing. They did a nice job. And, we've handed out and passed out, and people have taken so many copies since we've gotten them. Mm-hmm. And they did a really nice job putting that book together to give that tourist an idea on where to go, what they can do when they're in town. And, so kudos to them. That was awesome.
Yeah, we just met with them, try and work with them on few different things, and it's really interesting to see their excitement about anything and everything that's happening in Syracuse, and also, and I can speak to it from my perspective as well with Eat Local. There's so much that happens in the city that you never hear about. Mm-hmm. As somebody who's like trying to report on or talk about even restaurant openings or anything like that, there's so much that happens that we don't really have a central hub that everyone knows about, where it's like, hey, if you have an event or something, post it here and we'll distribute it out. And so Visit Syracuse as I've always kind of, I think knocked them a little bit, because it's like, well, why aren't you talking about my stuff more often? But having just met with them for an hour and a half and better understanding the task that they have of trying to stay on top of everything. And they love stuff like, like 7-time award winning, they love that kind of stuff, and try and put it out there as much as possible.
Sure.
So 7 years, is it 7 years in a row or 7 awards?
So the competition has gone 8 years.
Okay.
There's been 8 New York State competitions put on by the Beef Council. We've won 7 out of 8.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, what happened to the 8th? Well, the 8th we didn't compete in.
Okay.
That was 2020 when the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah.
So chaos was going on.
That was like the Zoom one or something, right?
They did a Zoom.
Yeah.
It was all popularity contest. It was nobody sampling your burger, nobody trying. And to be honest with you, with the state that the world was in at the moment, the last thing I really was on my mind was winning a burger competition. It was more of, how do I keep my doors open?
Yeah.
At that point in time. So we opted not to partake in that.
Yeah.
And that's the only one that we didn't win.
Yeah.
So realistically, we've competed in 7 of them and won 7 of them. So
that's crazy. I heard you talking about at the end of this last one going to Iowa to compete with whoever their best is, because New York gets put up against them. Do you think that's going to happen?
No.
Oh, really?
Not. I've already.
That sucks.
I've already.
been dope.
I've already. Yes, I reached out to Iowa myself.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they wanted no part.
Really? Wow. That seems like such a home run of a even just press for both states.
So I put it out there as, I'll cover my own expenses. I'll cover my own flight, my own hotel, my own rent-a-car, whatever. I'll cover everything. I just want to be able to come out there and compete against the best. That's all I want.
All right.
In the 2 or 3 years that we won Best in New York State, the Beef Council said, hey, let's go up against Iowa. But it turns into just a virtual voting popularity. And let's be real, Iowa,
is beef country.
They're responsible for roughly, don't quote me on my numbers, roughly about 80% of the beef that is distributed in the entire United States.
Yeah.
So the beef support that they have versus the beef support that New York has, we're going to lose every time.
Right.
So that's why I thought it would be a good idea. Hey, let's do this. And no, we got shut down.
That's crazy. Yeah, I have family out there that are farmers in Iowa and corn and soybean and cattle, you know. So, yeah, that's all that country is. That and Busch Light beer.
Busch Light and Busch Lattes. I like
that. That would be wild, man. That would be a crazy story, something that would really get a lot of attention. If we could, maybe I should talk to Chrissy about that. We've done a lot of work with the Beef Council this year. We've done 3 different projects with them, and was it 3? Yeah, we did. We helped them out with the beef passport. We got to judge the burger battle, and then we just did the Beef Buddies competition. And so I wonder if that's something I could talk her into to try to figure out somehow.
Like I said, if it can happen, like I said, I don't want any handouts. I just want to be able to
go out there.
To get out there, you know what? And it could be good for both states if you think about it.
Hell yeah.
Both. I mean, here you got, the support of Iowa backing their best burger, and then who knows, you might get some travelers from New York coming out to support their best burger, and gives Food Network or somebody something to talk about, maybe to air. I think it would be good for everybody.
Without a doubt. I mean, I think of like the Buffalo Wing Fest, and it's wild to see how much a little event like that can, he started, I forget how many years, I think like 20 years ago. And famously, he said that he took his wife's credit card and, maxed it out in order to pay for the first year. And today they're in the Buffalo Bills Stadium.
Right.
And
awesome.
And people from all over the world show up for it.
Yep.
So things like that, that you just start and then roll with, the press and the attention that you get, and in return the customers just from participating in something like that. If Iowa and New York met somewhere in the middle and had an unbiased panel of judges, it would be unreal.
Sure, absolutely. So, and you know what? It's not even. I thought about that too. Like, well, do you meet somewhere in the middle?
Yeah.
Or you probably would have to if you wanted to
go to Chicago or something.
Really like make something about it. But I was ready to just go to Iowa and let Iowa taste what New York has to offer.
Yeah.
Not looking for an enemy or any, but more of an alliance. Like let's build this brand. You know what I mean?
All right. So as a business owner, as a restaurant owner, knowing that winning those awards and you're still getting customers coming in today that are asking for it, do you seek out other competitions that you can, enter into?
So I would love to. I'm not tech savvy.
Yeah. I don't know of any that exist.
I can I can be upfront and honest with you on that. As far as my tech savviness is not up to par, but I would absolutely love to be able to compete in whatever they have. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't sitting around saying, there's got to be another burger competition to compete in. There's got to be like Food Network, Guys Grocery Games.
Right.
They do one burger episode for the entire season, each season.
Okay.
And this past season, Rock Burger, I don't know if you remember
yeah.
They were on Guys Grocery Game.
Oh, that's right. I think,
So when you sit here as winning 7 New York State titles, watching the Food Network saying, I beat that guy.
Right.
Why can't I? How do I get on there?
Yeah.
So I reached out to him.
Okay.
I reached out to the Rock Burger guy just to see how it worked.
Oh, yeah.
And and that's the beauty of this competition is that yes, we competed and yes, we won.
Yeah.
But I made a friend too because we communicate, share ideas. There's no hard feelings. It's friendly competition. You know, and he was very. He gave me a lot of information on how to go about doing it.
That's cool.
What I mean? And every day I try to email and write, and
that's cool.
Every day it gets ignored and this and that. So maybe one of these days they'll catch on. You know what I mean?
Restaurant people are really I only did like 2 episodes of it because technically it took me, if this episode is going to take me 3 hours to edit it and post it and get it out there, these episodes that I did took me 28 hours, just just stupid technical things on them. But what I did was I was trying to do restaurants across America was the name of it. So I would interview a different restaurant owner from all 50 states.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I did 2 of them, and talking to both people, the information that they freely gave, because I was just curious. The purpose of it was just to kind of show, my hope was that show restaurant owners all across the country who struggle with the same things or facing the same issues that everybody else is, and then also to see what worked for somebody in maybe the Northwest,
Right.
And but there is 2 restaurant owners I talked to, and they were just willing to share any and all information. I think restaurant owners are like that, especially the ones who have been in it for a while, because you realize, hey, no one else really knows what they're doing when they're getting started. Mm-hmm. There isn't a book. There isn't a manual. There's a shit ton of free advice out there from people who have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Everybody's an expert.
Yeah. Right.
All your customers are experts on. All your friends and family are experts, and they have no idea.
Yeah. During this break, for those listening, remember the drinking game at home. Every time we mention buried acorn, you have to take a drink. So, buried acorn. I don't know what you would say is the most dangerous person that's not in your restaurant, but that tries to influence your restaurant. I would say it is a real estate agent because it's commercial real estate agent, because there's so many of them where it's like, oh, you can open a restaurant, so you could open 10 restaurants.
Yep.
Here, let me tell you about all these other locations where I think you would do so well at.
And I get that.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm sure.
Monthly.
Yeah.
I inquired about one 2 or 3 years ago that just didn't pan out.
Yeah.
He's like, but I have 2 other locations over here that would be great. I go, but I'm not interested in those. But you would do extremely well. And I'm like, right, but I have to be interested in that location too. I have to say, yep, this will work. You know what I mean? And it's amazing. I get offers all the time.
I'm sure.
People just looking to rent.
Yeah.
Their kitchen ready, location out because, someone went out of business or they just, opted to retire out or whatnot. So.
Yeah. I just got a call from actually one of our marketing clients, is Steven Skinner from Eastwood. And he's not involved in it, but he just called me. The foul ball and Eastwood just shut down because the current operator didn't pay workman's comp or something like that. So the state went in there and chained the door closed. So the building owner is now trying to find somebody to get in there. And I was like, well, how much is rent? And $2,500 a month, which, I get for, somebody that's like, oh, that's nothing. But I'm like, an Eastwood and a place that has a terrible reputation, you expect somebody to go in there and try and turn it around and pay $2,500 a month? Like, I don't think that works.
It's tough. Eastwood's a different market.
Yeah, for sure.
Eastwood is very loyal to each other.
Yeah.
I have found that out. Eastwood does well within the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Supporting their bars and restaurants.
Right.
But you don't really hear too many people outside of Eastwood saying, we're going to Eastwood to hang. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But I do know that there are a couple different places in Eastwood that do quite well, that have been around for a long time, and you know what? It works for them.
Yeah.
I don't think that your mentality or my mentality would fit in Eastwood.
Yeah, no, definitely not. We'll talk off camera about that. So what do you think, when you look at the next 5 years or the next year, or whatever the case is, what do you think is the progression of Ale and Angus?
Where I see it, honestly, I see 5 more state competitions, titles.
Yeah.
I'm already working on, next year's.
Yeah.
I believe I have 2 really good, candidates for next year, but I'm going to keep trying to, evolve and, be the best that I can be and be good at what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And that's the most important to me is I don't try to do anything outside of my comfort zone. Like we are very good at burgers. That's what we're going to showcase. I'm not going to try to be good at saute dishes or fish. You know what I mean? I'm a burger place. So,
Right.
And I feel that if you cut your menu down, be the absolute best at it, give a good product, you'll do fine. So next 5 years, I see myself winning 5 more titles. I see myself within the next 5 years opening up my second location. It is in the back of my head. You know, I do absolutely want a second location. I feel that being downtown where we're at is good, but yet bad for us as well.
Yeah.
We do have limited hours, and it's working.
Yeah.
You know, we're making more money now with limited hours and less staff than what we were pre-pandemic.
Wow.
You know, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I think a second location would just bring in another source of income.
Yeah.
Get your name out there. Maybe it wouldn't be an Allen. Maybe it would be a different theme. You know what I mean? That seems to be trendy now. You know what I mean? And, you know, just trying to build an empire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to look up to those guys, local guys that do well, you know, like the Limp Lizards.
Yeah.
Like the Bowling Bears.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And they're doing well. And I, you know, give those guys a lot of credit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to me to think about somebody like Mark and just the operational standpoint of that entire thing. To have, 3 Bull and Bears plus the Daily Diner now.
All the food trucks.
Yeah, yards, everything up at the amphitheater. I mean, it's wild. Absolutely wild. The organization that you have to have, like the organizational system that you have to have in place in order to make sure that like there are systems put in place and everybody follows it. I mean, it's crazy. I couldn't imagine, you know, trying to put all that together. Yeah, and they seem to be doing pretty well with everything.
Yeah. No, and I commend, you know, all those guys. You know, I tell you what, like to be able to, like you said, run an operation like that, flawlessly.
It's crazy.
And still have a family life outside. I mean, let's be real. We're all friends. We follow each other on social media.
Yeah.
You know, he is able to, you know, go play golf with his son at, you know, Calvary or go on a vacation trip with his family, you know, which is nice.
Right.
It's nice to be able to have all that and still have somewhat of a family life as well. So,
do you have kids?
I do. I have 2 boys. Yep. 14 and 13.
14 and 13. Oof. Our son just turned 9 months, so we have got a ways to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you sleeping at night?
Yeah, you know, my wife, my sister-in-law, and my brother, they have 3 kids. They bought some like super expensive sleep training course. Not super. I think it was like $1,000 or whatever it was. But and they recommended it to my wife, and my wife did it. Started taking it like after month 2, and it just. Rebecca has our son on like this very strict routine, but he sleeps 12 hours every single night.
That's awesome.
And there's the only times that he really gets up is if he's teething.
Yep.
And you know, so we have a couple nights like with that right now. But yeah, I was playing poker with some old buddies from high school a month or so ago, and 2 of them have kids that are around the same age, and they were just like, "You're not sleeping, are you?" I was like. We've been sleeping for like 6 months, man.
That's
like,
awesome.
It hasn't been that, and that's all because of my wife. But
good for you guys.
No, I was listening to a podcast recently, and it was somebody who's not it was 2 people who aren't in the restaurant industry, and they were talking about generational family businesses and how the parents who sacrifice so much, like build this, you know, restaurant empire of 30, 40 years. All they want is to turn that over to their son or their daughter and say, hey, I think, you know, Jimmy's really going to be taken over one day. And listening to it, I was like, that's crazy. I don't know of anybody who says that, who owns a restaurant who says that.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that way.
Right. I mean,
my parents are, you know, are retiring.
Yeah.
We're about 90 to 95% there.
Yeah.
You know, they're starting to scale back a lot. They're coming in a little later, leaving a little earlier, taking days off, vacation time, this and that, you know. And, and it's difficult because at the end of the day, it's still a business.
Yeah.
You do have to transfer everything and make sure all your I's are dotted and T's crossed, and make sure you're on the books, and now you're off the books, and now you're doing. It's just it's very stressful. But
I mean, could you imagine your sons? Like, is the hope to have your sons one day like continue Ale and Angus?
It would be. Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I haven't thought about it. You know what I mean? I mean, they're 14 and 13, so my 14-year-old will be working, by January.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very important lesson because he says, "Dad, I can come work for you," and I said, "Nope, not your first job."
Yeah.
I really think that his first job needs to go work for somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I mean, let's be real. He's your son, he's your daughter, whoever it may be.
Right.
They know what they can get away with dad or mom, and it shouldn't. They shouldn't have that mindset or mentality at the workforce.
Yeah.
And I really think it's important that my two boys go work for somebody else to start. If they want to work part-time with me, then okay, but
all right.
I think to start out they need to have a different boss.
Yeah. That's smart.
And that will teach them maybe work ethic or what they can get away with and what they can't.
Yeah.
How do I need to act when I'm at work? You shouldn't have to be told 8 times to go do something. You know what I mean? It's like, this is your job. So they need to be fired. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
To learn how it feels,
Yeah, for sure. I grew up, when I was young, like 8, 9 years old, my parents had a diner. We lived in northern Kentucky, and my parents owned a diner. And they had it for just over a year. And I was homeschooled at the time, which meant I spent all my time up at the restaurant.
Sure.
And there were some things like they would have me wash dishes, but it wasn't a job. I was too young for that. But I was always like, man, that's one thing I would never want to be in is the restaurant industry. And then,
you are.
Now with Eat Local and then, the restaurant and everything else. It's funny, though, talking to my dad, who he's still, dad's the sales manager over at Lorenzo's. And I talked to him, he's been there for, I think, a year and a half now. So for the last year and a half, I talked to him almost every single day, talking to him about restaurant stuff or what's going on. And it's so funny to talk to him call my dad, who, like, we grew up in, like, a really Christian, home. So to talk to my dad now and say, I was just talking to this person, but they were, you could tell they had just done a line of Coke or whatever the case is,
right.
Or, I heard this person had Coke problems and don't sell it, whatever, all that kind of stuff. All these, like, crazy stories from, like, that exist in just the restaurant world. To talk to my dad about them today, and he's just laughing. He's like, it's the same thing. Nothing's changed in 60 years since he's been in the industry. So that kind of stuff is kind of funny. I don't know, like having our son, I'm the 4th Anthony Tringale in our family, so I named my son Anthony Tringale. I have this like really, I don't know if you felt this way when you first had kids, but for me, I'm like, thank God I had a son to carry on the Tringale last name, to keep that going.
I think it's in every father's interest, they want that son. Get the son out of the way, and give me 3 girls after that if you want. You know what I mean? But I think at the end of the day, too, it is in the back of their head that they would like a son. But I think new parents just want a healthy baby, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And but it's nice to get that first one out there. And all right, cool. We got the last name still going.
Yeah. Yeah, so I haven't thought too much about if Eat Local New York will exist by the time that he's old enough to, take over. Our thought is we're saving money aside so every month now. So when he's 20 years old, the plan is we're gonna give him $100,000, and that will be you can either go to college, you can use that to pay for college, or you can go start a business. And either way, you have to have a plan. Like if you say I don't want to go to college, I want to start a business, you have to have a plan. We're going to oversee, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just going to be like, here's $100,000,
That's pretty cool,
go
man.
party. But, so.
I like that.
Yeah. All right, so one of my last questions for you is, and, everybody has a different burger identity, right? I mean, Ale and Angus isn't doing smash burgers, and you're not trying to or anything like that.
No, but I was, you say smash burgers, I was playing around with it last week, 2 weeks ago, actually.
Okay.
And they're good.
Yeah.
They're good, but
yeah.
I think it is trendy.
Yeah.
But if you really think about, I mean, you can't cook a smash burger to temp.
No.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like once you've had one, you've had them all.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But you may see one in the near future at Allen Angus.
Okay.
I've been playing around with some ideas. So
I was going to ask you, so I can't find anybody in Syracuse that can do a great smash burger.
All right. Well, I'll call you over.
All right. Sounds good.
I'll call it when I'm ready. And that's you know, what I will not put out a product until I'm absolutely 100% ready that it's good to go. I don't just wake up in the morning and say, you know, I'm going to do a smash burger today. Never done it before.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it today. There's been months that go by before I release something because I'm not comfortable with. I got to tweak this, tweak that, you know, and you can ask my staff. They'll say the same thing. They get to sample everything.
Yeah.
And you know, I get their opinion. I get the how's the execution? Is it going to be too time consuming? Is it, you know, a lot plays in the fact, you know, when coming up with these burgers. So
yeah, that's cool.
So smash burger though, you might see one here.
All right, cool.
We're close.
Yeah,
we're close.
Well, Matt, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming in so early.
Appreciate you having me, man. That's great.
Everybody's listening. Get down, check out Allen Angus. What's the exact address?
238 Harrison Street.
Okay, cool.
And make sure you follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, for
follow us on social media, Facebook, whatnot. A lot of specials that we put up, new burger ideas.
Yeah.
Catering gigs, stuff like that. So check us out on Instagram. Cool. Nicole does a very good job with our social media, and she'll let you know what's going on.
Awesome. All right, thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.